Buenos dias, and welcome to Mexico. That's right. Take a look. That's Mexico right there, and the Rio Grande River right there. It's right now. I'm in Big Bend State Park, or whatever the state park is. Big Bend National Park is just right this way to the east, and then Presidio is this way to the right. If you're ever coming to Big Bend National Park, what I would do is if you're coming on Interstate 10 and you're coming from the west or the north, get off in Van Horn and drop south down to Presidio, and then turn east and drive along the river. It's a very, very nice drive. I think most people probably come in through Alpine or through Marathon. Now, those are nice drives as well, but if you really want the full Rio Grande experience, just come in through Van Horn off of the I-10. I think that's Highway 67 or something. Just drop south, go down to Presidio, and then turn east, and then come along from there and just follow the river through the canyons. And then you'll eventually make it over to Lajitas and then Terlingua, and then you'll get yourself into the eastern entrance to Big Bend National Park. And speaking of which, let's go see what we can. Oh, I wonder what these are. Let's go see what we find in Big Bend National Park. And you see these things here, right? These teepees. It's actually a Texas Department of Roadside, Texas Department of Transportation roadside park. And that's actually where I stayed last night, right there. You can stay 24 hours. Okay, let's go see Big Bend National Park. So actually it was Big Bend Ranch State Park, and then which is right next to Big Bend National Park. But we're going eastbound now along the river, and first place we come through is Lajitas, Texas. Well, we made it to the little town of Lajitas. It's actually kind of interesting. It's right here on the Rio Grande River. It's a little town. It's got a little golf resort. I'll show you that in a second. But this is the old Lajita mission. But what I want to show you inside there is the world's largest collection of longhorns. That's right. Longhorns from longhorn cattle. Let's go take a look. This is the world's largest collection of of longhorns, and if you don't know the history about the longhorn cattle, they originally came from Andalusian cattle from Spain, and they multiplied. They're able to breed every 9 months. But anyway, they're the reason why they're so hardy and able to get so big is that unlike normal cattle, they're able to eat just about anything instead of just grasses. These longhorns, they can eat weeds, they can eat cactus, if you believe that, prickly pear, all that sort of stuff. They can go for a couple days without water. They're very, very hardy. They were pretty much just in Texas, and then after the Civil War, some of the men decided that, hey, Texas is not the place for them to be, so they rounded up a bunch of cattle, drove them up to Kansas, as far north as Montana. And then later on, they started being bred with the fat, juicy cows, because the thing was about getting more meat and all that. So it came to the point where the Texas longhorn was almost bred to extinction. And so the state of Texas created a registry in 1927, I believe, and they started breeding purebred longhorns. And so whenever you drive through Texas or other places and you see these guys, that's your purebred Texas longhorn. And they've come back with great force. The largest span of horns, I think this might be it, is measured at 8 feet 9.5 inches. I think this is the one right here. So interesting little stop. The Texas Longhorn Museum in Lajitas, Texas. See you guys later, huh? And let's go see what else is here. So like I said, Lajitas is here on the Rio Grande River. You can get a sense of it right here. This is actually where the river makes a bend. So the river is coming from this direction here towards this way, and then bends out south, and that's it over there. Continues through that direction there, and then eventually bends again, and that'll be Big Bend National Park, where we'll get to. But here's the part of the golf course, and then there's actually a little resort area up here. I'll show you. So this is part of the Lajitas Golf Resort. This would be the cantina and restaurant up here. Peaceful little spot, huh? It's really interesting that this is out here. It's basically in the middle of nowhere, and it's got this nice little hotel. Let's go out to see the other part of the area here too. Kind of a little jewel, just sort of out in the middle of nowhere. Like I said, right along the Rio Grande River. And then here is the little main street of Lajitas. Heading west towards Presidio. And then east over towards Terlingua, and then around to Big Bend. And then farther north up to Alpine and Marathon. So it's an interesting little area. If you're ever coming out to Big Bend and you want to stay in something that's a little bit chic, rinse the dust off you, have some nice beds, shower, restaurant, some creature comforts, come over here to Lajitas, to the golf resort here, and yeah, pretty nice. If you're in Texas, it's not very far of a drive from Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's pretty close even from Houston, San Antonio. And if you're doing the tourist thing and you're driving through, like I said earlier, if you're coming from Interstate 10, come down from Van Horn and then go south through there to Presidio, and then turn east. If you're coming from the if you're coming from the east, you're going westbound on Interstate 10, turn off down from Marathon, go south into Big Bend National Park, and then head west, and then just continue to hug the border here and come out this way. Okay, that's it from Lajitas. Stop. Well, I want to show you something you wouldn't expect to see west of the Pecos River in Texas. What is it? Why, it's a submarine surfacing out of the West Texas desert. And not only that, but got a little sailing schooner here as well, huh? And not only that, got a boat back there. Now, story has it that a guy named Jimmy built this thing. It's in tribute to the submarine Thresher that filled with water, sank, I forget, it was in the 60s or 70s, and killed all on board. So that's the 593, the number for the Thresher submarine. And by the way, if you're interested in this property, it is for sale. You want to look it up and tell me how much it's worth, how much it's going for. This is in Terlingua, and if you have heard of the name of the town Terlingua, kind of, well, it's home to the famous worldwide chili cook-off every November, and I think it's usually the first week in November. So Terlingua, I'll show you a little picture of it when we go through the town. Worldwide chili cook-off and Thresher. All right, so I stopped on the way to my campsite for the next 2 nights, called Gravel Pit. You can probably see me right down there. Yeah, right there. But anyway, I stopped here, came up the hill, check out the view. Not bad, huh? There's Mexico off in the distance there. So pretty nice. It's interesting looking at all this shale here. You can probably hear it. Well, I got the speech enhancement on. But maybe you can hear it when I kick around here. I've always liked that sound of shale. I don't know why. So anyway, gonna head on out to the campsite. I was gonna stop by the hot spring, but I guess I'll do that tomorrow. I was trying to find a shortcut, otherwise I'm gonna have to drive around. So far, this Big Bend National Park, what little I've seen of it, has been pretty interesting. It's wide open spaces. It's, and the history too, how the Comanche came down here with their raiding parties into northern Mexico. In fact, I was going to look that up if there was ever a movie called Comanche Moon. It would be in September and October during the full moons when they would come from the plains up here in Texas, traverse through this area here, across the Rio Grande, and go on their expeditions into northern Mexico. But if you ever have a chance, I'll look up Comanche Moon and the Comanche War Trail. It's a really interesting history, and it's a really interesting history too of the Comanche people themselves. They were once part of the Shoshone, who ranged anywhere from Idaho down through Wyoming and Nevada and even a little piece of California. And then I forget what the precipitating factor was. It was a climate thing, I think. Climate change back then? Anyway, they part of them split off from the Shoshone and they came east, and they eventually settled in the panhandle area of Texas and then down into the southern plains of Texas, and they ranged that whole area. And once the European settlers, the Spaniards, got here, they got introduced to horses, and so within a generation, the Comanche became expert horsemen, and every single Comanche warrior was on horse, as opposed to a lot of the other Indian tribes. And so they used the horse to their advantage in their wars with the other Indian tribes, especially the Apache. Comanche and the Apaches really fought it out with each other. And then, like I said, in their travels and raids down into Mexico. So if you ever get a chance to look up the Comanche history, it's pretty interesting. And then the Comanche Moon. Look up Comanche Moon and read about that. It's quite an interesting story as well. Gravel pit. It is a gravel pit, isn't it? This is gravel pit 1. There's gravel pit 2 and 3 over there. Got some guys playing their country music over there. Got a critter box. Keep your food locked up if you didn't have a secure place to keep it. What kind of critters, you say? How about bears and javelinas, huh? Rio Grande's right down there. I think it's all choked off with all the reeds and stuff. And looking towards the west, the sunset. Mexico right over there. And then towards the east, sunrise tomorrow. All right. So that'll do it for tonight. Gravel pit, Big Bend National Park. And let's see what's in store for tomorrow. If anybody's watching this video and asks if I have a permit, I won't say. Or if I have a passport, I won't say that either. And I guess it's time to go back to America.